Welcome back to This Is Your Mind on AI. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody calls me Mercer, and you are invited to as well. We're talking about latent experience prompting stuff here all the time. We talk about Gemini gems here all the time. I use Gemini all the time. And then we got a question in the community that was basically like, okay, if I'm using this leap gem that you keep showing, like, do other people see what's going on there? Do other people see the conversations? How does this whole thing work? And it was a great question because I hadn't thought to even answer that because I've been using this stuff for so long. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to sort of cover the basics of Gemini gems and Gemini in particular. And we're going to show everybody kind of what that looks like. Now I'm going to start with Google because that's everybody knows Google. But how do we get to Gemini? So first, we just go here. We just go to gemini.google.com. So you can also Google for that, which is typically what my mom ends up doing when she tries to type a URL in. She's always Googling, but that's okay because she knows that now. So now we're going through. That was a little side joke. Maybe my mom have. So now I'm on Gemini. So what is Gemini? Gemini is the AI system, right? That we're using what they call an LLM. Basically, this little chat interface where we sort of are working with this little magic machine, or at least it feels like that, to get answers from, right? Now we have to operate this machine just like you operate a computer or you operate a car. It's a complicated machine. It's got lots of bells and whistles on it. The challenge is, the complication is not this stuff. It's not these tools and everything, which I'll quickly cover. It's not this stuff of how to add files or this stuff of how to do mic. It's how we pattern it, right? So almost everything in this channel is an experience of how I'm patterning things and prompting it to get the machine to essentially spit back the words that I need to get the insights that I'm looking for, right? So now the basics are everything's going to go in here. This is like your box where all the prompting stuff is. When you want to attach stuff, and you'll see me do this over and over again, so I'm going to kind of cover this quickly just to show everybody where it is. You can upload files, which is anything you have like stored locally on your computer. I personally, if you can, and you're comfortable with it, but only if this makes sense for you, upload it to your Google Drive, and then you link it through your Google Drive. This is what you see me do. The reason I'm doing this is because anything in Google Drive, if I change the file in Google Drive, if it's attached to something, it automatically, that's something, like in this case, it was a Gemini gem or something, it would automatically get the updated information. So that's kind of why I like adding from Drive. This is how you add stuff. And again, this stuff, to be honest, like this is how you use a microphone, click on it, start talking, it'll show up the words, everything else. Pretty basic. Hopefully most of you know that part or have played with it. If not, just play with it, right? Just put stuff in there, get stuff back. Do not try to make anything happen. Just experience what's going on and get used to it. That's it. Easy interface. Now, there are a couple of models up here. I'm on a free account, which is why you will see this little upgrade to Pro or whatever their most recent thing is. But I'm using a free one because I think that's what most people are using, and you should at least start there. And then you can upgrade your accounts if you find that it's necessary. I am almost always using the Flash here because it's the free one that's kind of on a more unlimited basis. I can't ever say they're never going to restrict this, but I've never run into limits here. But if I use the Pro one, I can do a few cycles, and after a while, it'll be like, okay, you're done now, and you have to wait for 17 more hours or something till the tokens unlock or whatever the thing is, and I can do it some more. The difference between the two, from my perspective, there's some. There can be a lot depending what you're trying to do, but in the beginning, when you're just trying to learn this stuff, just keep it with Flash. Because if you can't get it done with Flash in a reasonable amount, just because you upgrade to Pro is not going to work. If you can't do it with Flash, you're not gonna be able to do it with Pro. Let's kind of put it that way. So, and keep the little free version. And I don't change this typically, but if it ever showed Pro, it'll show Pro. See like that up here? So it should always just look like Flash. Flash is the fast one. Flash is the one that's cheap. The free one that you don't have to pay for it. Now over here, when you hover over, this is a little menu. So you can click this to keep it expanded. You can click this to minimize it. You see, I mostly click it to minimize it because I'm trying to show you the entire screen. But when you expand it, so what I'm doing here, you can see all the past conversations that we've ever done. So there's all your past conversations. And then you can go into this gems section. So I'm going to show you this because this is going to matter because we use gems a lot here. Now the gems, you can create these on your own. And I'm going to show you how to do that stuff too. Eventually I probably already have some live streams that do. When you come into gems, these are basically like, instead of having a conversation with the AI to kind of get it set up and be like, well, here's who I am and here's who my business is. And these are my customers and these are my products. Okay, now that you know all that stuff, now I can have a conversation. And there's like a lot of setup that you would have to do with an AI LLM because it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know who your customers are. It doesn't know who your products are. And you have to give it all that context. But with a gem, it's kind of like preloading all of that stuff and saying, here's all the stuff that I normally would tell you ahead of time. Can we just start now? Right? That's what a gem does. So anything where you're going to have a type of experience that you want over and over again, and you don't want to have to constantly set it up, like the Leap in this case. And I'll show you this one. Actually, I'll show you what a new one looks like, and then I'll go through it. But when you click on New Gem, you got the title here. This is new. This wasn't there last week. It is now there. So you have a description that you can put in, which is useful. I'm glad they added that. Then you have the instructions. This is actually what the sort of think about this like a pre-prompt, right? The stuff that your AI is going to be using first. Anything you input will go through the instructions coming through. And then you've got additional knowledge. Now, I typically am not doing this yet on some things, but I'll show you how to add this stuff as it goes through. This is just like a little mini library where you can say, hey, you're a specialist in these areas. Here's my customer data. Here's my specific product data. Here's my specific company data. Here's the things unique to me. That's kind of what knowledge is, right? Like that. So, but for the most part, you can do an awful lot with instructions, which we mostly do here. So that's kind of the basics of a gem. When I'm gonna just pop my head off here, when you up here where it says save, when you start adjusting stuff, right? So here's like, I'm just gonna say test gem, and then description, right? Something, and then instructions go here. So whatever they are, and I'm just doing this because I just literally created a gem for an email writer here, and then I'm gonna click on save. Once I save, now I've got my gem. That's it. Now I can start the chat or I can share it. Now this is what we're doing. We actually do both of these. We can start a chat and just have a chat with the gem. But if you click share, you can give the gem to somebody else. So you can create it maybe for a family member. Maybe there's like a family meal planning thing or a recipe thing or something that the team wants to do. You can create a gem for your team, right? Or for others or for the world, which is kind of what we're doing with our gems. You can share them. So when you do that, you click on share, at least in this case. Actually, I apologize. I'm not going to do this in this way because you're hardly ever going to do it like that. Just know you can share them. But here's our gems. That's how you do it. Now, if I want to get rid of it, I'm going to go back to Explore Gems. Here's my test gem. Here is where I can create a chat. I can make a copy of it. I can click to a link that's in my Google Drive. It'll be in your Google Drive because you created it in your account, your Gmail account, or you can delete it, right? So you can get rid of it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. So that gem is gone. So don't worry about creating a gem and messing it up and being like, oh, I only have started my gems. You don't, you can delete them. Easy. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to show you how we share gems so that you can see how the gem is being shared with you. And I'm going to try to do this on a split screen with a uniquely different account here. Let me see how I can do this. I'm going to try to pull this over and see if I can get it to switch. So you can see how it might look on your end. All right. So I'm going to do, I think this. Let's try. Oh, come on. So let's do this. And then we're going to do this, I believe. Okay, perfect. That works. All right, so what I'm looking at is on this side here is this is your Mind on AI, the gems. This is just another account, and I flipped it to Pro so you can see that there's definitely a difference, but it's just a different account, right? That I've got. So this is the Pro one. This is this is your Mind on AI one, just so you can see kind of what it looks like. So there's apples to apples. So this is it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here, and I want to share the Leap gem. So I go to Explore Gems. You can create your own gems. You can do the same thing. This is one that I'm about to share, I think. So I'm gonna do this one, the Leap gem. Actually, I am gonna do this email one just for fun. No, I won't. I won't because I'm literally sharing the Leap gem with you. So I'm gonna make sure you see this. So share. Now I've got my link. I've made it available. I did this where it says anyone with the link is a viewer. So I changed it so that any of you can use this gem. That's what I did. If I wanted, I could have put specific email addresses in there and say only these people or only people in my company or whatever the thing is. So you can restrict it kind of however you want. And then you just copy the link, right? That is how I did this. So this link right there is what I just copied. This whole link is the link to the Gemini gem. And if I hit enter, it takes me right to the Gemini gem. And it says, oh, this is Elite, right? Here's the Gemini gem. In fact, that is how, if you go to thisisyourmindonai.com, where it says the Leap here, that's what this is. That's where that came from. It's literally that link right there. That's how I did that. So it's just hyperlinked. So when you're clicking on it, right, which I'm going to kind of copy, since I've got that little copy link, I'm going to do it over here so that you can kind of see what it would do. Let me close this out. Actually, I'm going to keep this there. Let's do this. Nope, wrong one. I'm gonna have to do this one because I need to make sure it stays in this account. That's why I'm doing that. So I'm gonna try this. Let's see. Nope. Okay. trying to get this. I knew this wasn't going to do what I needed to do. Give me 1 second. Let's try this other one. Apologies. Let me just do one more here. I just want to make it sure that it does not flip the accounts on me. This will work. All right. So when in doubt, flip to another account. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to pop in our gem. This is just another account I've got. I'm going to enter. There we go. So now it's coming over. So I've got the leap. I'm in the gem. So this account is literally using this gem right here from This Is Your Mind on AI because I shared it. That's what you do. So when you click on the link, just like I did, you're seeing this. This is why you see this message here. And if I go back to mine on the leap here, you'll see it doesn't show me that message. It doesn't say this gem is shared. This one doesn't show that. Well, that's because it's my gem. So I can go in here and I can edit it. So if I need to change the directions, the instructions, which is all of this is how leap happens right in here. This is the secret sauce. And I'm going to tell you, it's not a secret. I'll show you how to get it because it's not hard. This is just, you can do it with everybody. But this is how the gem works. This is what it does. Its instructions, everything else. So if you ever wanted to change it, you could, but you can't change it for everybody. That's why I didn't share it like that. It made it so that you couldn't edit my stuff and accidentally change it for the world. So I want to make sure I've got my version of it linked. And if you want, this one is linked. So if I change the directions here, it's going to start working differently here on this side. So that's what's nice about it, because whatever you do, as long as you're using the gem that I'm giving you, you're always going to get the most useful version, at least the most updated version that we're using, because we're literally using it on the streams. So as we update it, or as we see in the community, people want it updated, you'll see all of that as we come through. Now, the challenge with this is, or the question is, okay, well, how do I tell if, actually, let me do this. I'll show you. How do I know that these are not being viewed by other people, which I get, because that seems a little weird, right? But this is your history. So where it says recent, and you'll notice recent here. So this is the same gem here and here. It's the same gem, same instructions, but two different accounts. So that gem is being used in two different accounts. It's like it's got two copies. It's kind of what's happening, right? Two different copies are happening. So this is my main one, and you'll see it doesn't show shared, and you see different conversations. You see this one, different conversations for this gem, because it's two different accounts, quite literally, right? So I pop my head back out here. So you see different account that's there. So different conversations. This account cannot see anything that's going on in this account. Now, that's normal because, again, it's Gemini conversations and they all stay separate. However, what if you wanted to change your own Leap gem, right? So how would you do it? So if I come into Explore Gems, when you use it, you will see it at the very bottom here under Shared with Me. There's your gem shared with you. All you need to do, now you can share them with others, right? And ask to share them and everything else. But again, you would just say, in this case, you just give them the link. Same link that I gave you that you used, it was fine. But you'll notice you can't edit it, right? These other ones I can edit because they're my gems. I made them, so I can edit them. But this one, you can't edit. But what if you wanted to make your own leap? What if you wanted to customize it in some way? What if you wanted to try something else? What if you wanted to try to leap the leap instructions or something fun? Well, you come in here, you go to make a copy, bam, that's it. Now you got your gem. So I'm going to expand this out just so you can see it. Oops, I thought I was going to. There we go. So here you've got the copy. Here's all the instructions. So now you can see them, right? So I'm going to say my new copy of the old Leap. And all I need to do is just, and I can take this piece off because this is never going to go to anybody because it's not shared with anybody. It's now in my account only, right? So I could start a chat with it, and you'll notice as I do that, I don't have any recent conversations because this has never been used before in this account. So that's useful. So now I can say, test, whatever, and now it'll come back and it's going to do its thing and try to figure stuff out and whatever it's going to do. Awesome. Now I've used my gem. Now if I want to edit it, so I'm going to go to Explore Gems. Here's my copy. I can go back in and edit, right? And just take whatever I want and then change all the instructions, which is great. And potentially awful if you accidentally change the instructions and now you're not linked to anything. So that's where, if this is more for advanced users that want to do that, but just know that that's how you get the instructions. That's how you make copies. Your conversations are all kept separate in your own account. And if you want to share the conversations, you can. Just be careful, right? We want to be aware of that stuff. I'm going to take this out here and I'm just going to close this out. I'm going to bring this up. So when you're sharing conversations, so in order to do that, if I wanted this conversation, I could come in here, you can share this with somebody, you can make it public. Now, if you make it public, which is what just happens, when you click share, it's a public link. It creates something that anybody can see, technically probably search engines. So they can be reshared. It's not a only these people can see it link, because I'm not sharing a gem. And a gem is something I can restrict because it might contain proprietary information depending what the gems are, right? That sort of thing. Ours don't, which is why we give them out and we make everybody able to see them. But conversations are different, right? These conversations are the actual threads, right? These different conversations that we were doing. So if I wanted to share a conversation, I could click into it first. This is one we did from a previous live stream. We click here. I can go to, oops, let me just refresh. I should be able to share that. So we go in here, click. I don't know why share is not there. Of course it's not going to share. Anyhow, whatever. You saw it was sharing. I don't know what's going on. It happens. Forget it. It shares. It's a public link though. He's got to be aware of that. I don't know why that just stopped sharing all of a sudden though. Whatever. This is what is beautiful about live streams. Let's make sure I didn't flip accounts. Nope. I'll check on one other thing. I don't know why that just wasn't there. Okay, whatever. So you can share depending. Just make sure they're public links. And honestly, I don't know if I would share conversations, to be honest. I personally do this. I will copy and paste the stuff that I want, or I will copy these and I will put them in Google Docs. And honestly, that's why I prefer to do it. It's why I'm not super comfortable sharing conversations all the time. I just put it in Google Docs. And then I share the Google Doc because, why? I can actually share Google Docs. And I can make that specific to somebody, a specific email, restricted, somebody can edit or not edit, whatever else. That's kind of how I like passing conversations through. I don't like creating public links. You can, I just don't like it. The other things you can do, you can pin them. So if I click on pin, you'll notice it goes up to the top here because it's a little pin. It's like, oh, this is one of my favorite conversations. If there's a conversation you like coming back to, you can do that. You can pin it. I'm going to unpin it so it goes back. You can also rename them. So sometimes you will see, I will rename them occasionally where like this one was, I'll say fail because it didn't achieve what I needed to do, but I wanted to have the information, right? If this one was useful, I might be like, this one was, or DNU, sometimes I'll call it like do not use, like this is not useful, stuff ever, whatever. But you can put little things in there. You can rename the conversations. You don't have to deal with whatever the names are here. You can call them whatever you want, right? That's useful for you. And if you decided you didn't need it, you can delete it sometimes. Depends on your account. Because if you have a personal account like I do here, you can delete it. If you've got a business workspace account, you might not be able to delete it because that's kind of admin stuff. And that's always subject to change. So assume, this is just how I assume I'm working with AI. All the data that you're going to give AI is going to go into the LLM. They're going to tell you it's not. It just, why even have that battle? Like, who the hell cares? It's already got all the words in the LLM database. It just doesn't have your specific pattern of the words that you're giving it, but it already knows all the words. So I wouldn't worry too much about the LLM getting your secret sauce because it's not like Google. It's not like I can ask it and say, what does John whatever think about blank from 123 Main Street? And then all of a sudden it pulls up your conversation from the email you had the other day with your friend. It's not like that. It sort of scatters everything into this ether, and it's just doing probabilities of all the different words that you're saying, and it's word calculating everything, and it's sort of just, it technically, yes, are all of your stuff in the LLM? They just are. It has been for years. Like, that battle's gone. I wouldn't try to face that. It's more just the data's in the LLM. Your job is to get the patterns back out. The more you freak out about how you're putting stuff in the LLM, the less it's going to be useful for you. And you're gonna have the same problems that everybody else has with it all the time, which is it creating a lot more work. And I've done this before. I've just recently did it on a live stream. And then in 5 minutes after the live stream, I built an entire gem and fixed everything. But I'll cover that in a future live stream. But anyway, the point is, hopefully this just gives you at least a little bit of basics. I know this is not a best possible, most absolute useful Gemini tutorial. It's not designed to be. It's designed to get a conversation going, because I'm not here just to give you content. I'm here for you to practice and participate. And so if this helped you to get started with something, copy a gem. Take ours. Go to This Is Your Mind on AI. Click the link. Take the Leap gem, copy it, and then use it. Change the instructions. Change them into something completely different. And do whatever you want. You'll see how it works. Then delete your copy of it, because you can't delete mine. And if you do accidentally, you might think that you delete it. You didn't. You just share it again. You can remove it from being shared with you, but you can just say, I don't want to have it shared anymore, because maybe you don't want that, and it says delete it, but it's just deleting it from your personal connection on your account. It's still in ours. You're never going to delete our gems unless we allowed you to, which we don't. So you would be able to just reshare it. So play with this and get some practice with it, because I think there's too many people that are too afraid of it, worried that it can hurt them in some way if they accidentally make a mistake. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to make thousands of mistakes with this, and you have to start with your first one. And I'm purposely doing this live streaming so I can make mistakes, which I think this is, to be honest. I think this is not the best training in the world, but it's something to try to produce something useful for people. Not the best experience, in my opinion. Personally, right now, I don't feel this is the best one. I think there's going to be better ones in the future. But I got to get through this one first. And I got to get some feedback. And I'm going to do it in front of you, because this is an experience for you and me, not a channel that you're supposed to just watch. If you want that, go to Netflix. Like, that's what that stuff's for. This is YouTube. This is a community where you can experience some real change in your life, specifically around this tool. But if you don't get into this tool and start practicing it in new and unique ways, and just getting over that initial hurdle of what it's like, it's very difficult to ever get anything real to happen in your life, because you're just watching it happening in everybody else's. And I don't want you to watch what's happening in my life, though. If that entertains you, awesome. But don't like and subscribe and share, because that's not what this channel's about. I want people on this channel who want to have good conversations around this stuff, who are going, okay, I kind of get it, but you went a little fast around this part. What does this mean? Or how about this? Or how about this other thing? Or how would you explain this? Or wait, I didn't even know what this thing was. What about the should I do good response, bad response? Should I give that? You could. What's the redo? How do I share here? What about this? Ask me questions about this stuff. Do you even care? I don't know. But this is part of the channel. This is part of the experience. I need your feedback. So I gave you the basics. I gave you the basics of gems. Again, highlights on some of these words. No one else can see your conversations except for you, unless you share the conversations. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. There we go. My share button's back. Here's a public link. So now this is what it looks like when the shares are there. Now, what's really cool is when you click here, and you should, when you click on delete, these are all the public conversations I actually have out. So I can delete the public link here. I can delete the public link here. I can delete the public link here, right? And so now I can delete all of my public links. Now nothing's public. So if anything was out there public, it's gone. So you can take it out. That's what's useful about those. You got to know that. But you have to know, you have to share it first like that. But that's how easy that was. Now, if I go to delete, you'll see there's a public link right there, because I just clicked share. It wasn't like, who do I share it with? It's created the link. It's already there. Even if you didn't realize, and you go, oh, I didn't decide to share it with anybody. It doesn't matter. It created the link. So it's public now. Right? It can be scraped by the search engines and everything. So if you decide, I do not need this shared, and I don't want the other person having access, you cannot control who has access. It is public. So all you need to do is just delete. And that's it. You can delete all the links, specific links like I showed you. So that was the last little bit. So hopefully that made sense. But otherwise, practice some stuff. Let me know what questions you have. I'm sure this created some other questions. That's cool. That's the whole point of the experience. So get in there, ask some questions about it. Especially if you're new to Gemini, if you want to see a specific feature, different things you're trying. Maybe you got a workspace account. Maybe you're trying to do it with a personal Gmail account. This is a personal Gmail account, by the way, just to kind of prove the point there. Let me get my head off there. This is what we did. So our email address, thisisyourmindonai.com @gmail.com. Or sorry, thisisyourmindonai @gmail.com. So you can email us there too. So that's how that works. So with that, practice and let me know what questions you have. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up here, and we will look forward to seeing you on another edition of This Is Your Mind on AI. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. And this goes down to being pretty close to the shortest one I've ever done. So let's see if we can keep that going.